Occasionally, when you're building a course in Storyline or Rise, you might encounter a time where you need to insert a custom text symbol into your text box or into your text block if you're in Rise. And that might be challenging depending on what that symbol is. It might not be as easy to find on your keyboard. So, for example, in this storyline course we're building, we want to be able to insert the degree symbol. So for 100 degrees Fahrenheit or 37.8 degree Celsius, putting that degree symbol, it's just not as readily available on the keyboard. So I might want to try some alternate methods. In Storyline, one of the ways you can do that is using the Insert tab. And then there is a section called Symbol. And from here, you can find a lot of different types of iconography symbols that you could use, especially if you're using webdings, wingdings, those kinds of things. Or you can change your font to try to find certain types of symbols. The benefit of something like this is it does continue to capture the recent symbols that you've added. So if it's something you're going to be using a lot, they're going to be showing up there and it's something you can reuse. However, if it's a symbol you're looking for, I don't find these as easy to locate. There are a lot of symbols in here and it's just a little bit overwhelming and you have to go to a bunch of different fonts possibly to find the exact one you want. So I typically don't use this method. So for our particular instance, we're thinking about putting in a degree mark and what's the easy way to do that? Well, there are some built-in Windows shortcuts that can work for that. For example, if I wanted to type in the degree mark right after this 100 number, I could use an Alt key to create a shortcut. So for example, there are certain shortcuts that do create that degree symbol. So if I hold down Alt and using the full keyboard, not the one on your laptop, but a full keyboard that has a 10 key numeric keyboard as well, I can type in 0176 and you'll see that degree symbol will appear. And I could do the same thing if I wanted to. I'll delete that here and hold down Alt and also do 248, and it can also work in some systems as well. In my system, both of them happen to work. But in your system, you may find one or the other. But that would just be the code for that one degree symbol, and that might not be what you're looking for, and you would have to now learn a whole bunch of codes or figure all that out. So another option to consider would be to use the Windows virtual keyboard for that. And one of the ways you can access that if you're in a Windows system is to hold down the Windows key and press the period on your keyboard. That will bring up the emojis and symbol keyboard for you to put other things in. So here I am now. I have different emojis I can use, but I can also come over here to the symbols and I can scroll through a lot of different symbols in here. They're a little bit easier, I think, to find what you're looking for. You can also use search feature, but also again, it does remember your recent ones in here as well. I can pop that in, and therefore I have that degree symbol. There are also other text symbols that you might want to use, and you can put in, if I were to click here at wanted to put a check mark in, or an M dash, or whatever I might be using. Again, I use the Windows period, and I can type in, one of those other items in here. There are the ability to add emojis. They do not work, however, in Storyline. So if I were wanting to bring this in to illustrate the fever, and I could click this, you'll see it's creating a space there, but it doesn't really bring in the emoji. Those really are only going to work in a web environment, which does now indicate that we could use these in Rise. So if I came over to Rise, and I have a similar course that I'm working on in Rise, I could now come in and add those same types of symbols. Now here, if I tried to use the Alt 0176, it's not going to work because the browser's wanting to do other things with that shortcut. But I can do the Windows key period, and it can bring up the symbols again. So I can do the same thing. I can come over here. I can add that degree symbol. You'll see it appears. But then I can also do other things. Maybe I wanted to add those emojis, which would be kind of fun. Pop that in. They work well in these situations. and you can begin to put in whatever it is you might want to put in here. And so you might find that using the Windows period, if you're on a Windows keyboard and you're using Windows, it will bring up this option for you to consider using in your Rise development or also in your storyline development. Thank you for watching. At UConn Learning, we're all about making e-learning easy for everyone. So whether you're new to e-learning or been building courses for a long time, we hope that these videos help inspire you or challenge you or encourage you to do something different or learn something new. You can always reach out to us at uconnlearning.com.